Hi guys, so your buddy Michael here. So some of you eagle-eyed viewers may notice that the video quality for this next video looks like it was shot on a flip phone because I, in my infinite wisdom, forgot to set the proper focus, but I figured you guys would still enjoy the video even with its flaws. So here it is. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hello, my name is Kayla. I'm an attorney with Althouse Law.
And I'm Jeff, and I'm here too.
And the both of us are gonna watch Bob's Burgers. It's season 12, episode 11. And they talk about estate planning, so we're gonna talk about it with you too.
Perfect.
Alright.
Ugh, school again. Punching in for another day of unpaid child labor before we go home and do more unpaid child labor.
The kids don't get an estate plan in this episode, though you're never too young. Except for you should be older than 18.
So you can be too, yeah.
Just plan.
Keep taking it.
Fresh baked brownie? Blondie?
I was just handed a baked good for some reason, but yeah.
Hi, Tina. New shampoo? No, we had one squeeze of shampoo left and we've been adding water to
I
it.
don't know if this is relevant to estate planning, but it is still Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
Hi, Louise.
Whoa, that's a lot of hi, Miss LeBons. You okay?
I'm fine. How are you?
Confused.
It really doesn't start until oh yeah.
Better make it a double.
Something the matter, Mort?
Nah, there was a big brouhaha at the mortuary. A guy died without a will, and at the funeral, a big fight broke out over who gets his autographed picture of Patrick Swayze. You might say they were going crazy
That's
for Swayze.
deserving of
Oh
a
no,
fight.
that's terrible to die without a will. It's not even that great to die with one.
Right, yeah, right.
Glad I've got my affairs in order. Bob, do you want to know what I'm leaving you?
Maybe Teddy's talking about the fact that a will probably isn't gonna take you or take care of you all the way, and that's why it's so terrible even with a will. There's
It's
a
true.
lot more that should be done.
Is this Teddy with the hat on?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I don't know the characters. I know Bob.
This is
That's
that's Bob.
Yeah, is that Bob?
That's Bob.
The guy everyone's been calling Bob.
Yep.
Yeah, so a lot of people, biggest misconception in estate planning, a lot of people think that when you have a will, you get to avoid court, stay out of probate, and stop a whole bunch of fights. Even if you have a will, you may not have said where your specific Patrick Swayze picture goes. Was it what was it? An autograph?
I think it was autographed. Something to do with Swayze.
I would fight for that. So you may not be able to stop that fight no matter
No
what.
matter what.
The reading of the will should be in a bar that looks like Roadhouse. But a will does not avoid probate. The will is actually an instruction sheet for probate. So if all you have is a will, you're actually not setting your family up for success. You're setting them up for court and thousands of dollars of fees and stress. And in Colorado, a minimum of 6 months in the court process. Other states can be years. So yeah, in general, just having a will is pretty terrible.
Yeah, and most people don't list out every little item like that in their will too. There's ways that you can do that to make sure that there isn't a fight over Patrick Swayze.
Everyone's going to fight over Patrick Swayze.
That's true.
Oh my God.
Moving on.
Just get out.
It's not Christmas,
You have
Bob.
to leave
Jeez.
now.
Okay, fine. Tell me. Please don't say the
My
arrowheads.
collection of arrowheads.
Yeah. Even though they're just kind of.
You can leave people things that they don't want. That happens sometimes, but
Yeah.
at least you were clear.
So what about you guys? Got all your I's dotted?
Yeah.
Sure,
pretty
we
dotted.
loosely.
Oh, we don't have a will or any of that dying stuff.
But we're gonna. We just.
And they have children. They should have plans in place.
Bob, come on. What's his wife's name?
Linda.
Damn it, Linda.
Damn it, Linda.
Listen, Linda, you need an estate plan, especially with children. So while wills will take you to probate and you'll still be in court for your family, it's better than having nothing. So the nothing they have is going to go to court, and then the judge, who's a complete and total stranger, is going to have to decide where stuff goes. And you'd rather at least guide them with a will and say who you want in charge, where you want things to go. Then the probate process is much less painful and stressful for people, but it still does not stop that process. I'm sure you have lots of stories or input on why having a will with kids is important.
Yeah, so where stuff goes is part of a will, but you also get to say who the guardian of your children should be. So even more important than stuff is your children. So if you don't have a will with a guardianship clause saying who should take care of the kids if you can't, then this complete and total stranger judge is going to make that decision for you. And that obviously is not going to be as informed as if you made it and helped them along in that decision-making process. So that's even just the minimum of having a will that says where the kids should go. And then, of course, a trust would be something you should do if you have children. Trust sounds scary, but they're just ways to have the trust would inherit for the kids, so they don't have to go through what's called a conservatorship hearing, where again, a judge, a stranger, picks someone to hold on to the kids' money until they turn 21, at least in Colorado. So Linda is not setting up Tina, Jean, and or Louise for success.
Those must be the kids.
They are, yeah. Just showing off a little.
Nice. I need to go see the movie.
Yeah.
Is it out yet?
I don't know.
Oh.
Been distracted by Marcel the Shell movie. That one's gonna be good.
Great.
It is! It's so adorable.
Jess, are you still here?
Meg, who let you back in the house?
You don't know who Patrick Swayze is.
Marcel, you know who Marcel the Shell is? You know who that is?
I don't care.
Exactly. Mostly a shell, but he's also got a face and shoes, and he likes that about himself.
It's like claymation, but like a shell.
They also have a business.
LLCs. Let's talk about LLCs. So there's lots of different kinds of business formation and business entities that you can use when doing an estate plan. Bob's Burgers is obviously a business, so it would be recommended that they have some form of incorporation, limited liability company, or any kind of paperwork that says what happens to this business when Bob passes away, or Linda, if they're co-owners in the business. They probably don't even know if they don't have any kind of operating agreement or partnership agreement between the two of them. And I know I went through a ton of different kinds of business entities right there. All of them have different tax advantages and disadvantages, and can control assets differently when you pass away. So it's important to talk to someone who knows what the heck they're talking about, especially with a business, because you want to be able to pass that on and get it to where you want it to go, rather than it just shutting down and going through court, because that will ruin a lot of businesses.
Hold on, this isn't a quiz. This is...
Good morning, students. By now, you will have been given your teacher evaluation.
That's why everyone's been
Which you will use to review your teachers.
It's a new process I'm calling Evalugrate. As I explained to Principal Spores, everyone needs feedback to improve, except principals and guidance counselors.
10 questions in a comment section? Sweet mama.
The evaluations are due back to me before...
Why does she always wear a bunny hat?
I don't know. It's like her little blanket, like security blanket. There's an episode where she doesn't get to wear it and she goes crazy.
These things are anonymous.
You and I have some history. I'm a delightful rascal and you're a bit punishy.
Louise, stop. No. Bad. Awful. Principal's office. No. We have fun.
There's also the recent totally unfair grade you gave me on my animal habitat diorama. It was rock solid B- work. You gave it a C.
Your diorama was a cotton ball in a white shoebox.
It's a polar bear in the snow.
Pretty good commentary, actually. Just saying.
You said don't quit your day job. This is my day job.
You call us this one and that one. And sometimes you call us The Shining and I don't get the rest.
That would be Jess.
Do you know what The Shining is, Jess?
This one? No!
No, that's The Ring.
That's the It.
It is the, it's just it. There's no the.
Also, that's a clown.
You need an evaluation that's catchy and blurb-worthy. Got it. Miss Twitchell's so good, she makes learning almost worth it.
Yes, that's great. Right there.
So let's go over this again. The school is here, and I park in the unpaid overflow lot way over.
I have a question about the arrowheads.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to give someone big old box of arrowheads that aren't arrowheads. How would I do it? Without a will.
Without a will?
Or not, maybe not without a will, but if I had an estate plan in place, where would I put the recipients of said arrowheads?
That's a great place you could put that, Jess.
Where the sun doesn't shine?
That's what I was going to say. But for everyone else, they could put it on the personal property memorandum.
Personal property memorandum is a supplement to a will or something that, or like a trust that says specific item to specific person. So It's a way that you don't have to incorporate everything you own in your house in your will or your trust and still get it to the exact person you want it to go to. My example is that I'm a climber. Everything's going to my husband except for my trad rack. That's going to my friend who
You're gonna
learned to
have
climb
to
with
explain
me.
what a trad rack is.
All of the stuff that you use it's protection when you climb. You like cams and nuts, you place them in the rock and then you clip into them so you don't fall all the way. And so that is expensive stuff. It's very cool. So
it's not.
It is very cool.
You put nuts in a rock.
It is very cool. Don't listen to Jeff. And if I learned to climb with this friend, I learned specifically how to climb trad. So I want to leave her the trad rack, but everything else is still going to my husband. So Will says husband. Personal property memorandum says trad rack friend.
Hey, Coach Blevins, what are we doing in PE today?
We were gonna round laps today, but now I'm thinking some light stretching and relaxing on the wrestling mats.
Sounds good, Coach. See you there. If I feel like it.
This is ridiculous. Respectable teachers shouldn't be groveling for good scores by letting students run riot.
This is all your fault, and one day there will be a reckoning.
Miss LeBons.
You won't see me coming.
It feels like we're kind of taking advantage of the system.
Yeah.
That's another point. You never know when the Grim Reaper's coming. So everyone should have an estate plan.
Well, and I can see what was on there the day before, and it's like being in 2 moments of time at once, and it hurts my head.
No, Tina. The point is today we're eating the teacher's lunch. Literally.
Unless their lunch is sad, like a smush sandwich or something. Actually, I'd still eat it.
I don't know, Bob. Maybe we should finally do some of this end-of-life stuff planning.
Or put it off until death is cured.
Come on, let me help. This is what I do. We'll just write things down on the back of a napkin. You can get a cheap lawyer to make it all pretty later.
Okay, it's slow right now. Maybe it'll be...
All right, we've got to talk about cheap lawyers.
And backs of napkins.
We talked about this today.
Yeah,
actually.
we did.
You can, in Colorado, actually handwrite your will, which means a back of a napkin actually works. I've seen those before. You want to know what it doesn't work for is anything good at all. You end up in court, your family's still fighting about everything because it's a frickin' napkin. Same is true if you just want to write your own plan. And in my honest opinion, the same is true if you're going to do it online or do it at one of those super discounted will maker classes or anything like that. You get what you pay for is a pretty good saying for a reason. A lot of times, specifically online document farms that I like to call them, can't send you legally valid documents because they can't witness and notarize online. You can do remote notarizations now due to changes in COVID, but you can't remote witness, which a lot of those documents still need witnesses. So when you receive your documents, there's still more steps to do. A lot of people don't know that. They put it in the safe and they're a worthless pile of papers and they have lit their money on fire. Also, you don't have an attorney you can talk to about what works better, why am I doing this, here are my goals, how do I best achieve them. Really, you pay an attorney for peace of mind. You know that your plan is going to work. Some attorneys will guarantee that their plans were going to work. That's something we do. If your plan goes to probate for something we did, we're doing that probate for free because that shouldn't happen. Not a lot of people say that, but no online place says that, that's for sure, because all those plans will go through probate. They also can't fund trusts and transfer property with deeds because you have to do that with a specific county, and online document farms aren't licensed to practice law in each and every state. So whole lot of downsides, and then yeah, I don't know what I missed.
One thing is that you don't know what you don't know, too. So you go in thinking you need one thing and no one tells you anything differently because there's no one you're interacting with. You're just doing it off your own knowledge and off of what the forms tell you to put.
The other thing is the law comes in and actually says what happens to your stuff and who's in charge of these things when you don't have a plan. And number one, you don't want the state coming in and saying where your stuff goes. That's terrible and you should do it yourself. But just having one of those group class wills is essentially just laying out what the law says anyway. My spouse first and then the kids equally. So paying for that class is actually just getting you what the state has already given you anyway. Fun fact. Everyone has an estate plan already, whether you know it or not, and it's what the state has said by law is going to happen to your stuff when you pass away. And it's most times not what people want because it involves paying the state a lot of money in court.
All right, making plans for being dead.
Let's dive in with the distribution of assets.
See, death can be fun sometimes. That was a weird thing to say.
Doesn't have to be scary.
That's what I was going for.
For Teddy, any food left in fridge.
Ah, guys, this means a lot.
Let's move on to the next.
Don't open fridges.
Oh, God. Do I need to tell that story?
I don't know. Is it a good story?
It's a terrible story. Oh, so a lot of people that pass away, people don't. This is really gross, so I apologize in advance. Sometimes they don't find the body for a few days, and in one case, when
We're not able to enjoy it. Like, just because we have heard it doesn't mean that everyone needs to.
So, when I worked for the state, we went to one of these houses, and this doesn't involve a body, but you go in to clean these houses out, and a lot of times they're hoarder houses, and there are fridges all over the place and freezers, and they're all plugged in. But when someone passes away, bills don't get paid, and if they don't find that person for a while, these fridges and freezers have not been working for a really long time. So what we would tell people is, whatever you do, don't open the fridge or freezer. And so what happens is the first thing someone does in their first house is open a fridge or freezer. And right after we told them not to, within 2 minutes they did, and we saw this lady puke then into the deep freeze. There were just bags of chicken that had inflated to be balloons, basically, that were still in the freezer, and it did not smell good.
I thought we'd want to be, together someplace forever.
But buried? Underground? Bob, I don't even like 2 blankets on the bed.
But cremation?
So another part of estate planning can be making your final arrangements ahead of time, or at least letting people know what those arrangements should be. Because those are all decisions that do have to get made one day, and if you help them make those decisions, they're a lot less stressful. No one's worrying if they're doing something you wouldn't have wanted, or getting you a flower you didn't like, or getting you flowers at all if you just didn't even like them. So just things like that, helping people along through the process is kind of the goal of estate planning, and final arrangements is part of that as well.
Yeah, and a good example here is a statistic we found is that 60% of spouses think that they know what the other spouse wants, and they're wrong almost 90% of the time. So right here, the spouses don't even know that one wants to be buried or one wants to be cremated. She doesn't even like a blanket on the bed. So it's really, like Kayla was saying, taking stressful decisions out of everyone else's hands. Plus, you get to then be treated how you actually want to be treated. And that's what our death party pack does. Someone called it that once and it just stuck. But that's a declaration for final arrangements, instructions for final arrangements, whatever you want to call it. But it deals with burial, cremation, funeral, memorial service, and tons of questions that if you don't have answers to, can be really stressful for people and even cause fights. So easy way to take stress out of people's hands.
Cremation? So you can fit in a cup?
A big cup, a nice cup. What's it called, Mort?
Urn?
No.
Yes,
It's
urn.
I'll think of it.
I'll get you some brochures on both options. You can discuss. And remember, this isn't life or death. It's just death.
Jar? Bucket? Body bucket?
Body
Our
bucket.
top story, kids
They've
rule.
actually come up with a lot of interesting ways now.
They have.
So there is a lot to think about, and make sure that what you have on paper, or what you have, you get on paper, so that it's known. Because there are maybe too many options. I don't know.
They have a salt urn. When people scatter ashes and they've never done it before, they don't realize that wind matters a lot. And also, if you're sprinkling over water, it usually stays on the surface and then just kind of washes to the shore with all the muck and everything. It doesn't really go as well as people think it's going to go, and then it's a little depressing. So they have this urn that dissolves in the water, and you actually place the urn in the water, and then over time, the ashes get dispersed in the water.
things I couldn't mess up. The sound, and then something else that I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure it was that.
Did you turn it back on?
Yes.
Is it recording? I'm pretty sure you have to hit the button to make it record.
The little thing is flashing, and then it's telling me that it's been 22 seconds, so it is recording. I know what I'm doing.
Michael, we miss you.
Hi, Michael. This is what happens when you're gone. Total and utter chaos.
There's too much show left.
There's too
I
much
think they
sauce.
talk about final arrangements for the rest of it. Like the thing they disagree on most. Which, something to note is that when you think you know what the other person wants, that's usually the thing you know the least about, and then end up having the fights about and stuff. The things you think are settled are the things that are not settled. But anyways, have the conversation. But yeah, I think there's, I don't know. I'll leave it there.
I think we should probably just wrap it
I
up.
think so too. And we owe it all to you. Thanks for watching.
And now, Patrick Swayze, everyone.
Get your estate plan done. Give us a call if you have any questions. Alt House Law. Like and subscribe.
Hey, howdy, hey, I'm Jess Barclay, and I'm here to tell you about our event coming up, Alt House Pause. It's going to be on June 11th from noon to 4 p.m. Make sure you show up early from noon to 2 because that's when the pups are going to be here. So come hang out with us, eat some good food, and find your forever friend on June 11th. We'll see you there.